to both the McLaren teammates. Prost could make himself very difficult to beat with another win. And the single-minded, fiercely ambitious Senna must score well in every remaining round to beat the Frenchman. In his best season yet, veteran Riccardo Patrese is third in the championship, just 1 point ahead of Nigel Mansell, who's followed by Thierry Boutsen and Sandro Nannini, with the dominant McLaren team a daunting 39 points ahead of Williams in the Constructors' Championship. But here at Hockenheim, all eyes are on Lotus. For years, it was common to see the charismatic Colin Chapman, who founded the team, joyfully throwing his cap in the air to celebrate yet another win for Lotus by Jim Clark, Graham Hill, Jochen Rindt and Emerson Fittipaldi. In 1978, Mario Andretti and Ronnie Peterson swept all before them. And in 1980, Chapman started Nigel Mansell on his climb to stardom. 5 years later, Ayrton Senna took Mansell's place at Lotus to win 6 Grand Prix for the team. And now the star Lotus driver is 3 times world champion Nelson Piquet. Lotus are up against it at Hockenheim, though. Their former chairman faces legal proceedings, their team manager Peter Waugh has just left, and their massive sponsorship is threatened. But after a fine 4th place in the British Grand Prix by a rejuvenated Piquet, things are looking up and spirits are high, with the affable and experienced Tony Rudd now in charge.
Oh, I think we're a little more enthusiastic, a bit more get up and go. I don't know, I've only had the job for 3 days. I can't tell you what it was like, but, you know, they're pretty cheerful now.
Now, there's all sorts of rumours surrounding the team at the moment. One of them is that 2 particular individuals are negotiating to take the team over. Golfer Greg Norman and Jackie Stewart, no less.
Well, they haven't spoken to me about it, and as you know, Jackie and I are old friends that go back a long while. He knows my telephone number, but certainly hasn't spoken to me.
After his encouraging showing at Silverstone, Nelson Piquet starts 8th on the grid for today's German Grand Prix. In pole position, though, it's Ayrton Senna yet again, with Prost 2nd, Mansell 3rd and Berger 4th. Martin Brundle starts 12th in the Brabham. Derek Warwick is 17th and Jonathan Palmer 19th. And Palmer's ex-teammate Michele Alboreto starts last in his first Lola drive.
And sure enough, Berger goes straight up, and is he going to take the lead on the first corner with a spinner in the background? It is Philippe Alliot in the Lola. And Gerhard Berger, with an absolutely superb start, gets away. Philippe Alliot, who tried to sprint out from 15th place on the grid, is rejoining. Senna takes the lead again from Berger. It's Prost 3rd, Mansell 4th. Thierry Boutsen in the Williams Renault is in 5th place. And you can see that already on the first lap, they're well spread out. It's Senna, Berger, Prost, then a little gap, Nigel Mansell. Behind him is Boutsen, then it's Pirot. Emanuele Pirot in the Benetton Ford is well up.
Yes, and Mansell was having to defend his 4th place there from the attentions as Prost makes it round the outside of Berger under braking, and the Ferraris clearly aren't as quick as they'd like to be on the straights. Mansell had attention from Boutsen there, trying to get past him as they went into the first chicane, and the McLaren Hondas just really blew Berger away on the first straight up to the first chicane. Senna was comfortably past him, and on the relatively short straight after that, then Prost made it up into 2nd place to follow his teammate through.
And Pirot is in 6th position, chased by Alessandro Nannini. Now, Ayrton Senna will be trying to clear off. I remind you that James and I have both said how important this race is to the Brazilian, and Alain Prost muscled his way past Gerhard Berger because he is not going to let Ayrton Senna get away with it if he can possibly stop him from doing so. They are into the stadium section for the first time in this 45 racing laps German Grand Prix. You look at Maurizio Gugelmin in the march. Lap 1, it's Senna, Prost, Berger. Mansell is 4th, being caught by Boutsen 5th. Nannini is up to 6th, Pirro is 7th. Patrese is in 8th position, and Nelson Piquet is 9th.
And here we have a view from the Ferrari
of Nigel Mansell, who is in 4th position. Now you can see what it's like to be driving one of these semi-automatic gearbox cars as he goes into the chicane. Watch his right fingers. I don't think you'll see the left with the position of the camera, but when you see his fingers flick and you hear the engine note change, that means to say that Nigel is changing up. It's right-hand side of the steering wheel to change up, left to change down. Race order on this, the 3rd lap, is Ayrton Senna with Prost catching him, and the gap now is only about half a second. Berger is 3rd, Mansell is 4th, Boutsen is 5th, 6th is Nannini.
And one impression that you get very well is just how much of a buffeting you get in a Formula 1 car, buffeting back through the steering wheel. There's no power steering, there's no shock absorption through the system. It's very direct, so you feel all the bumps back through your arms, fed back through the steering system and through the wheel. You see the wheel trying to jump out of your hands. Prost absolutely on Senna's tail, but doesn't appear to be able to get much of a tow from him as they get onto the straights, the quicker parts. He needs to be really close to him now. And there is Thierry Boutsen. Boutsen has stopped, and the rear wing is missing, so one gets the feeling that Boutsen has hit something that happened out of sight.
And here are the 2 Ferraris. And Mansell, who was challenging and inching up on Gerhard Berger, will be looking for that 3rd place very shortly. But Berger has yet to score a World Championship point this year, especially after his awful crash at Imola, whereas Nigel Mansell behind him is 4th in the championship. So, we haven't had a Grand Prix as close as this year. Lap 6, Senna lead, Prost 2nd, Berger 3rd, Mansell 4th, Nannini 5th, and then the 2nd Benetton of Pirro is up to 6th now that Boutsen is out, followed by Patrese. Piquet is 8th, Alesi is 9th, Brundle is 10th in the Brabham, 11th is Modena, and 12th is Gugelmin.
You may have seen the waved yellow flag there at the back chicane, the 2nd chicane, and one... I couldn't see anything off the road there. I suspect that may have been Boutsen's car, maybe where he went off, but we didn't get a picture of that. Yeah. Lovely shot of Senna and Prost. And Nannini has gone into the pits. Nannini, right opposite where we're sitting, is in the pits, but they're working on the car. There it is, and that certainly isn't a tyre change. They're having a look around the back end. And remember, this car in only its 3rd outing. And that puts Emanuele Pirro into 5th place in the sister car. It also moves Martin Brundle up to 9th place, who is circulating in very close company with his teammate Stefano Modena. Prost still not quick enough on the straight to be able to duck out of Senna's tow. Mansell there not quite close enough to Berger as they came onto the straight. And certainly at the moment we do have a stalemate between amongst these leading 4 cars, but we still have a very long way to go yet. The rest of the field being dropped, and Pirro leads the rest of those. From Patrese, just 3 seconds behind him. Nelson Piquet, just another 4 seconds behind that. And certainly Piquet having his best performance of the season by a long way. He showed signs at Silverstone. There's Johansson in the pits in the Onyx car, the only one to come through pre-qualifying. And they're having a bit of a tough time in their first season in Formula 1.
And now we're completing the 13th lap. You can see the gap visually between Prost 2nd, Berger 3rd, as they come towards us to take the 140-mile-an-hour right-hander, which leads up to the fastest part of the course, the approach to the first chicane, where they are doing now over, in these 3.5-litre cars, 200 miles an hour.
And Alain Prost put up a new fastest lap, just marginally quicker than Senna, who also made his fastest lap of the race just then, and that, of course, is indicative that... oops, and a lot of brake locking there, and Berger, and it looked as if something went wrong with his car. It could have been a punctured, it looks like a flat left rear, unless that was accident damage. But Berger certainly locked his brakes in a big way, and it looked to me as if more than a driver error. But we'll have another look at the action replay in a moment. I'm sure we'll get one.
The second tremendously spectacular accident to Gerhard Berger in his Ferrari this year. The first at Imola, but he's obviously okay. Now here's a replay.
Yes, the left rear has already gone down. Now you saw Berger, he got out of the car and he just takes off over the curb, just lucky to land on the wheels and not tip a bit further forward on the nose, ducks while the nose cone goes over his head. You can see the left rear is flat, but we could see that had gone down before the accident.